It is April 8th, 2021, and in this video, I'm going over the hospital situation in Colombia. Follow along.
You're watching dcbornrob, erasing borders. And now, the news.
Okay, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is you're located, and thanks for watching. I guess this is my nightly news since I posted last night, but I wanted to briefly go over what's going on with the healthcare system in Colombia because they are in dire straits right now. I have a few stories I want to run over. First things first, just to let you know, there is still a PCR requirement to enter Colombia from the United States, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Apparently, with all the issues going on with the healthcare system in the hospitals, the ICUs are full. This is going to be running for some time now. Personally, I don't see it changing, but it's Colombia. Wait a few hours and it could change. Also, just to let you know, I do have two viewers who are stranded in Colombia because they came up positive on their test. Now, they have the financial means to support themselves as they get through this, but just imagine if you're not ready, it could be quite challenging. You're not allowed to come back to the United States. What do you do? So also, I have one person that just made it back home, tested negative the day before. The day he got to the United States, he was feeling kind of run down, took a test, came up positive, and then his wife came up positive, and I think his children as well. Anyway, this is no joke. It is happening, and the cases are going up from 8,000 a day to 10,000. I'm sorry, from 8,000 to 9,000 to 10,000 to 11,000 daily. It is growing exponentially. So just to let you know, first story, though, I want to go over the curfew for Medellin, of course. First of all, went over Cartagena a little bit yesterday. But as of right now, let's just scroll right to today's date. Let's say April 7th, 6 p.m. to 5 a.m. And then, of course, for the weekend, April 8th, Thursday, April 8th from 8 p.m. until 5 a.m. April 12th. So that means the 9th you're locked in. That means the 8th at night you're locked in. The 9th you're locked in. The 10th you're locked in. The 11th you're locked in. And then on the 12th you come in. So they're doing a 4 days lockdown and 3 days out. They call it the 4x3. So once April 12th rolls around, then it goes back to 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. all the way up until the 19th. I had plans to go down on the 24th and wanted to stay until the 2nd. That way I could just stay there weekend to weekend. Didn't have to ask my boss for any time off. Just work straight from there. I don't think that's going to happen. I'll just look 2 weeks after that, and hopefully this has calmed down by then. I don't see stepping into what I'm getting ready to show you. Okay, first story. Medical union requests total quarantine of 14 days and closure. That's right. 14 days closure of the country is what the healthcare professionals are asking for. So I highlighted this one. It says the critical situation that Antioquia and the Aburra Valley are experiencing in infections due to the pandemic and the limited availability of ICU units led the medical union to launch a proposal that a total quarantine of 14 days be declared throughout the department to stop the contagion and stabilize the situation, which is one of the most serious in the country. In a letter to the Minister of Health, Fernando Ruiz Gomez, as well as to the governor, Luis Fernando Suarez, and to the 10 mayors of the metropolitan area. The medical union, as well as various associations and entities with roots in the department, after describing the complex situation, they call for a strict confinement with total closure of trade and economic aid for the poorest and most vulnerable population. The signatories, about 30 entities, most of the health union, asked for greater control of the entrance to the massive metro and metropolis transport systems in order to control one of the potential sources of the contagion and mobility of the virus within the area metropolitan. I don't know how they do it. I've been on the metro there, and I've seen during the day, it's so tight. It's literally, they have to run outside and push to get everybody in. So I don't know if it's like that right now, but I can't imagine being in those closed spaces because that could be a way that it's transporting. They also say that the closure of the region's national and international airports and transportation terminals should be considered as a priority and responsible for at least 4 weeks. Okay, I want to read this one again for you because this is what got me when I heard it. And thanks to my viewer who passed this on. They say They also say that the closure of the region's national and international airports and transportation terminals should be considered as a priority and responsible for at least 4 weeks. So they're asking for the shutdown of international travel. What happens if you're there? What happens if you're going and you have plans? So in the message calling for shock measures, the signatories describe that we are in the most critical moments of the health impact in the region, to the point that it can be said that the pandemic has gotten out of control. The emergency services, hospitalization, ICU, and ICU rooms are collapsed, they said. So, when we have ice storms, we run out of power, we have a hurricane here, everybody's scrambling for gasoline and, scrambling for a way to cool your place or heat your place and keep your food cold. They're worried about the healthcare system collapsing. So, meaning what happens if you have a heart attack and there's no ICU bed for you because it's full of patients? So whereas most people say, well, I don't know anybody that got it. But what the real tell is how many people are in the ICU unit. So next story. This one is entitled 12 Hospitals in Antioquia Collapsed in All Their Services. There are 12 hospitals and clinics in the Iber Valley that declared full occupancy in their intensive care units, specials, hospitalization, and emergencies. In these institutions, dozens of people are waiting for a bed to be released for the transfer, including several of them to an ICU because they urgently need an artificial respirator. Until now, so you have to think, these people are at the hospital, they have nowhere else to go, so they're outside the hospital and can't get in. Until now, and I'm back to the story, it says, until now, the stories that have manifested the collapse of the hospital network are IPS Universitaria, and I'm going to struggle through this just in case you need to know. I'm bad with the enunciations, and then again with the transfer of languages. Sometimes the words are out of order, but Clínica Bolivariana, Clínica Las Vegas, Clínica Las Americas, Clínica Cardiovid, Hospital San Rafael, Hospital del Sur, Clínica Antioquia, Clínica del Norte, Clínica Medellin, the Pablo Toban Uribe Hospital, and the San Vicente Foundation Hospital in its 2 locations. Antioquia currently has 1,234 people in ICU and the occupation of 94.47%. And you can tell it's going back. This may be a day earlier because they're full today. And then it goes over the ones that reached 100%, Rio Negro, La Caje, Bejo, Sabaneta reached 100% of their capacity. In the case of Medellin, it is at 98.26% in total and the entire Iber Valley. So rest assured, all the ICUs are full and there are people waiting outside to get in. Okay, next story. This one is entitled Medellin enters a critical phase due to the hospital collapse. The ICU occupation of the Antioquia capital reached 98%. Bucaramanga is considering applying new restrictions as well. The city of Medellin is in a critical phase due to the hospital collapse with an ICU occupancy of 98%, which this Wednesday forced the authorities to tighten mobility restrictions to face the third peak of the COVID-19 pandemic. We are in a limit of ICU expansion, but it's enough. It's not enough. We must continue working tirelessly. It is at the most critical moment, Luis Fernando Suarez, governor in charge of the Department of Antioquia, said in a press conference. Next quick, let's see. This one is entitled The Odyssey of Getting an ICU Bed in Barranquilla. El Jarado spoke with several families who are going through the ordeal to find a place of intensive care in the middle of a third peak of the pandemic. So, you can see from these pictures, it's rough. It is a scene full of pain and despair that it is repeated on the outskirts of almost all clinics and hospitals. A moment marked by the anguish and frustration generated by the impossibility of getting a place in the intensive care unit. An exhausting fight against time, the one that runs in a hurry while silent virus continues to advance with precision, leaving serious consequences on the host that it now inhibits. It is valuable. It is a valuable source to save life. That is, why is it not an effort in vain? They knock at doors and search for an answer to find a cubicle to transfer their loved one with all their hope in their recovery. That has been the motivation that Adi Blanco Consuegra has had in recent days to find as if it were a needle in a haystack, an intensive care bed for her mother, Victoria Consuegro de Blanco, who on the last day of March was diagnosed with a positive patient as a positive patient of COVID-19. Victoria's hospitalization at the Barranquilla hospital was preceded by a series of mild symptoms, which worsened as the days went by. In that place, the older adult began to have complications in her health to the point that her oxygen levels were 55, had dropped to 55, which precipitated the admission to the ICU. From that moment, she began the ordeal to find an unoccupied ICU bed. One of them was located in Camino a Delta de Chad, but the delays in the transfer led to being occupied by another patient. Her patient screamed, waiting to be seen, but nobody does anything. The doctors are not enough to take care of the people who are in here, said Addie, while taking care of a mother of the aforementioned hospital. So, I mean, they're scrambling. ICU occupancy in Santa Marta is at 93.6%. Santa Marta locked it down tight like a week or so ago. In 5 clinics, there is no longer space in ICU beds. The occupancy of ICU beds reached its highest figure in the pandemic at 7 a.m. this Thursday with 93.6%, which means that 205 patients make use of them and that there are only 14 available. The report of the district health secretariat indicates that as of this total occupation, 154 correspond to patients with COVID-19, while 51 are from other pathogens. Okay, when it comes to travel, a quick story. Avianca will require surgical and cloth masks for its flights. Okay, and this is going to start on April 14th. It says, with the intention of avoiding new infections, protecting its passengers and employees, Avianca once again updated its biosafety protocols and announced that as of April 14, 2021, it will only allow the use of surgical and standard masks without valves and those manufactured on its flights on cloth. Okay, it's in the same sense it restricts the use of anti-gas masks with external filters, masks and valves, and scars that are used for respiratory protection. So that whole pull-up was driving me crazy anyway. The kind that goes around your neck and you just pull it up. It's like spandex. It stretches and the virus comes straight through it. I knew those were useless for the past year, but they're still allowed to wear them. So now Avianca is saying, and they're taking the lead from the WHO, they're saying, dude, stop using those masks. Only use, and that means N95 or any of that stuff, they're only going to let you use the surgical mask. Okay, hopefully they're 4-ply. Okay, chaos in Medellin due to the announcement that they would vaccinate people over 70 without an appointment. So Daniel Quintero, the mayor, comes out early in the morning and says, everybody over 70 can come in without an appointment. And you can imagine how that goes. It's like free money downtown. Come on down. So Mayor Daniel Quintero Calle insists that they are vaccinating without scheduling, while the IPS are not attending without an appointment. So, and you can see the lines of people, they're panicking to get in. Before 6 in the morning, the mayor of Medellin, Daniel Quintero, announced that those over 70 could go to any of the 74 vaccination points arranged to receive one of the biologicals without an appointment. However, several people stated that when they arrived at the places, those places told them that they only had doses for people that were scheduled. At different points, such as Santo Domingo and San Blas, the elderly 70 were returned without an appointment because they did not have biological drugs, while important hospitals in the city, such as Hospital San Vicente Fundación, Clínica Las Americas, Clínica Somo, IPS Universitaria, and several other institutions reported that they are not vaccinating the community in general and only attend scheduled medical personnel. So this is after he got up first thing in the morning, says everybody can get one over 70, and everybody brought their family members over 70, and then they said, nope, we only have it for people with appointments. So they are scrambling in Medellin. I just wanted to pass this information on as soon as possible for those who are looking to make a decision on going down. No, I don't say go, and I get the question all the time, should I go or should I can't tell you what to do, go or not go. That's on you. But the thought of being locked down for 4 days and then out only for 3 days, and even on those 3 days, you have to be in by, 8 p.m. to 5 a.m.? But the question is, what's going to happen after the 24th? Looking at it right now, do you think it'll be extended? what's going to happen. So I'm waiting until then before I book my plans. If you are going, make sure you stop by Sweet Georgia Cafe. Tell Rob that Rob sent you, that DC Rob sent you. Get by and see Chef Jay at his restaurant in Poblado. And also, if you need a ride, a pick up, a drop off at the airport, check out Andres. His information is in the description below. And by the way, Chef Jay is at Brooklyn's restaurant. But if you're looking for Andres' information, it's in the description below. Take some tours if you can get out during the day. Maybe if you get outside of the city limits, they let you out to play. But in the city right now, we know what's going on. I'm just passing on the information to you so you can make an informed decision. Thank you guys for watching, and be safe.
We have a YouTube channel. Like it.
Please comment and share if you like the video. Please subscribe and kick the bell.